Who would have thought after 2 seasons with a total of 30.5 sacks, Haason Reddick, one of Philadelphia Eagles' best pass rushers since Trent Cole 10 years ago, would be on his way out, as the Philadelphia Eagles would give Reddick permission to seek a trade. But what really caused an end to such a perfect reunion between the Philadelphia Eagles and hometown hero Haason Reddick? We start from the very beginning to truly understand what went wrong. Devonta Smith, like Haason Reddick, is also up for a contract extension, but for some reason he hasn't been extended, despite being one of the Philadelphia Eagles' bright young stars. We'll take a deeper dive into why Smitty needs to be extended ASAP and some of the other possibilities and potential pitfalls that may make things a bit difficult. And last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles have capped off free agency beautifully with a slew of intriguing signings that fill out the roster pretty nicely. This is the Voice of the Eagles show, and like always, God bless those Philadelphia Eagles.
But enough of that. Play the video.
It ain't no doggone tomorrow, fellas. What are you gonna bring to the doggone turn? Are you gonna bust somebody in their mouth? Are you gonna do your doggone job? Are you gonna play from your doggone chest? Are you gonna play from your heart and get everything you doggone got? Cause I'ma do that.
The beginning of the 2023 training camp, Haason Reddick was rumored to have felt like he had outperformed his 3-year contract after only one season in which he totaled 19.5 sacks and a breakout 2022 season.
Are you underpaid?
Say it again.
Are you underpaid?
I mean, I ain't going to sit here. I mean, like I said, y'all see it. Y'all know what's going on. Like I said, I'm worried about being the best version of myself and letting everything else sort itself out. True. A lot of people do play for it. Some people are playing for a paycheck. Me, I come out here every day. I give my all. I go hard. I work. That's what I do. Why? Because I want to be great.
After the 2023 season, in which Haason Reddick had 11 sacks entering the final year of his contract, Howie Roseman gives insight into the contract situation.
Can you give us an update on Haason Reddick? Where are things with Haason? There was a report he was allowed to seek a trade. Do you expect him to be back next year?
Well, I'd say this. Haason, obviously, unbelievable player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Local kid, great success story. Camden, Temple, Philly. Love having Haason. I think that, anything that you're trying to do, you're trying to blend, obviously, what you're trying to do this year and how you're going to look in the future. And I think that's the hardest job. But certainly, don't want to get into any specifics with any conversations with players, but have tremendous respect for the player and the person.
With him, what's the best case scenario?
I think honest communication is the best case scenario with all your players, and understanding where you stand and not being afraid to have open doors of communication and hearing where they feel and where we feel.
Head coach Nick Sirianni hints at new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio needing players that fit his scheme as a big part of why the defense could potentially lose key players that don't mesh with Vic Fangio's defensive philosophy. And it seems like Haason Reddick may not be the guy that fits with new defensive coordinator.
I think it's important that Vic had, some of his guys that he's worked with before and that know his system and know the things that he requires. And so there's a reason, why there's some change there on the defensive side, because he needed some guys that were familiar with that.
We land on with Haason Reddick's future with the Eagles, knowing that there's going to be a business decision that has to be made this whole season.
Obviously, we'll see how that plays out. I don't know how that will play out. Obviously, Haason's been awesome for us these last 2 years. Big reason why we've been to the playoffs the last 2 years is the contributions of Haason. He's played really outstanding football. So, we'll see how that plays out, and hopefully he's an Eagle.
Reports of Haason Reddick likely to be traded to the Cardinals or the Falcons. The Cardinals actually make a ton of sense because former defensive coordinator of the Eagles, Jonathan Gannon, coached Reddick the year he had his breakout season. He is now the coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And to be quite honest, Haason Reddick made a huge mistake signing a 3-year deal in free agency, and here is why. If he signs a 1-year deal in 2022, Haason Reddick would have hit the jackpot in the 2023 free agency, coming off a breakout season with 19.5 sacks. But obviously that didn't happen, and Haason Reddick would end the 2023 season with only 11 sacks and less leverage as he enters the final year of his deal. Losing Reddick would be devastating. Anytime you lose an edge rusher, it hurts because these guys are extremely valuable. Young star Bryce Huff and drafting Nolan Smith in 2023, the writing was always on the wall for Haason Reddick. It truly sucks because Haason Reddick is a fan favorite and an absolute beast. I wish him well, and hopefully we can work something out. And just when you think the Haason Reddick drama couldn't get any more crazier, it did. During a press conference, Jeffrie Lurie dropped bombshells regarding the Haason Reddick contract situation.
What are your thoughts right now on Haason's situation?
You know, I really wouldn't want to talk about any player, no matter who, under contract to our team or another team, and I'll let that play itself out. We don't have any games for, 5 more months? That'll play itself out. He's, by the way, a terrific player, great person, great background in Philadelphia, and I just see it'll play itself out in a very good way.
At this point, with so many conflicting reports, hearing Eagles owner Jeffrie Lurie say the situation will play out in a very good way is extremely encouraging. But does that necessarily mean Reddick is returning? With reports of the Eagles seeking a 2nd-round pick for Haason Reddick, who knows what Lurie could actually mean by his statements? Devonta Smith has always been counted out for his size and being labeled as being too skinny or too small, dating back to high school days. His freshman year in high school, Devonta Smith weighed 120 pounds. 120 pounds.
You weighed 120 pounds as a freshman?
In high school?
Yeah. 120. You didn't go to your friend's house and eat enough. And somehow in between 4 years, you got to gain more than 25 pounds. So you go to University of Alabama at 145, 150. You walk on campus. Coach Saban take a look at you, and what does he say?
It was just like, you here, like, we got to put some weight on you.
Even though all that, what do you weigh now?
170.
170.
His freshman year in college, he weighed 150 pounds and now sits at around 170 pounds. The heart and passion Devonta Smith exhibits every time he steps out on the field is inspirational and encouraging. But make no mistake about it, Devonta Smith may be the smallest guy on the field, but he is an absolute dog. As a true freshman in college, Devonta Smith caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship game. I mean, the guy won a Heisman as a wide receiver in his final year of college. I mean, his accolades is just off the charts, okay? If you take a look at his 2020 year alone, his Heisman year, the kid had 1,856 receiving yards and 23 touchdowns. Devonta Smith has always been a dog. Devonta Smith has always been like that, okay? So there's nothing to ever, his heart alone, right? And not only that, he's undersized, but man, if the guy was 6'2", 6'3", he would be the best receiver in the NFL, okay? He would be the best receiver in the NFL. I mean, his first year in the league, Devonta Smith, he broke the rookie record for receiving yards for the Philadelphia Eagles, okay, with 916 yards as a rookie. This dude is a Hall of Fame type of a guy. His trajectory is Hall of Fame receiver. You got to keep him around. You have to. He also broke the Eagles receiver record for most receptions. He's breaking the Eagles receiver records. He's really like that. All right, he's a dog. It's a no-brainer. You extend Devonta Smith. There are some potential drawbacks as far as negotiations. Okay? You have to start with AJ Brown here when you talk about Devonta Smith. You have to start with AJ Brown. AJ Brown has a $100 million contract. All right, he's making around $24-25 million a year. if Devonta Smith hits the open market, okay, he's going to be making $25 million a year. That's his market. So if you're telling me I have two receivers that I'm essentially giving about $100 million contracts to, $100 million contract for Smitty and $100 million contract for AJ Brown, you don't allocate that much money into one position. Okay, that'll be what, almost $50 million a year for two receivers. Now you need receivers. Everybody know you need 3 receivers now in the NFL. Okay, but man, when you put so much resource, when you put that amount of resources into one position, I mean, that's something that you kind of don't want to do as a general manager or a roster builder. Okay, so I don't know how this thing is going to play out, but me personally, I don't see them giving 2 receivers $25 million a year. Devonta Smith's market value is $22.8 million a year. All right. So it's about 4 years, $91 million. Okay. I would get it done regardless. Okay. I'm keeping Smitty. But I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles keep both of these receivers long term. I don't. I just don't. Because again, that's a lot of resources to just put in one position. I need to know how you guys feel about it in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about Devonta Smith and his contract, and what do you believe the future holds for Devonta Smith and Haason Reddick. So as we all know, the Philadelphia Eagles kicked off the start of free agency on fire, signing star players like Bryce Huff, Saquon Barkley, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and Devin White. Pro Bowl and All-Pro caliber players. But what's always intriguing to me is how Eagles general manager decides to fill out the roster late in free agency with guys like linebacker Oren Burks, cornerback Tyler Hall, wide receiver Paris Campbell, defensive tackle PJ Mustipher, and QB Will Grier. Oren Burks, a 29-year-old linebacker, was acquired in free agency after spending 2 years with the 49ers, having played in the Super Bowl and showing flashes from time to time. Before the 49ers, he spent 4 years with the Packers, in which he mostly played special teams. I'm not saying this guy is going to shock the world, but I feel this is a solid depth piece at linebacker that can come in and play special teams with Super Bowl and playoff experience. That's very valuable for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. All right, that's valuable for a team when you bring in role players that's actually played in Super Bowls. So, and again, he's a linebacker, right? Philadelphia Eagles, we have the linebacker thing has been atrocious for quite some time. Okay, so it's good to have a guy, you know, with that type of experience. He has a lot of upside. He's very he can run sideline to sideline. He can make those type of freak athletic type of a plays, right? So it's good to have a guy who can play some special teams and has experience. We have cornerback Tyler Hall. He was signed by the Atlanta Falcons as an undrafted journeyman for 1 year. He would get released and signed by the Rams, where he won a Super Bowl in 2021. Following 2 years, he spent with the Raiders before signing with the Eagles. Tyler Hall most likely will be a practice squad player and an extra body for training camp. So I wouldn't expect anything out of him besides hopefully being able to contribute on special teams. But one thing that is interesting about Tyler Hall is similar to Oren Burks. He does have playoff and Super Bowl experience, which is extremely beneficial to a team with Super Bowl aspirations. The guy won a Super Bowl with the Rams, okay? So, I mean, I know these aren't splash type of signings, but I like following it because you see how they're building a roster, right? And some of these guys may not make the team, but I like the trajectory. I like where Howie Roseman is going with some of these acquisitions and his thought process in doing so. Paris Campbell played college ball at Ohio State University. His senior year, he had over 1,000 yards receiving and ran a 4.31 40-yard dash, which was enough for the Colts to draft him in the second round. But injuries early on and often, his first 3 years with the Colts left a lot to be desired. His 4th year with the Colts, however, he had over 600 receiving yards, finally playing a full season, but would eventually be traded to the New York Giants, where he pretty much did nothing. But I mean, come on now, it's the Giants, okay? You sign with the Giants, your career dies, right? And then from there, of course, he was traded to the Eagles. Me personally, I love the move because Paris Campbell's 4.3 speed is lightning in a bottle, and he can play special teams, all right? With the loss of Aquiles Watkins, thank God he's gone, now we have a Paris Campbell who can potentially be that deep threat, right, with that 4.3 speed. The Eagles have been doing their due diligence, looking for a suitable wide receiver number 3 also, and Devonta Adams early on in free agency. This could potentially become the best bargain deal out of the mid-tier free agency signings by the Philadelphia Eagles. And last but not least, P.J. Mustipher and QB Will Grier. All right, let's start with QB Will Grier. He's a journeyman. I mean, he jumps from team to team. He never really plays or starts. I don't think we'll see him on the field. I don't even know if he makes the team, honestly. All right, but now you have a nose tackle with P.J. Mustipher. He had a really productive 3 years at Penn State until a season-ending injury. Okay, his senior year. He would go on to sign as an undrafted free agent in 2023 by the Denver Broncos as a practice squad player. The following year, he was signed with the Saints as a practice squad player. This guy's he's a practice squad guy. You look at nose tackles, you don't see those guys often. I mean, his college tape, dude, his senior year, it was going to be his breakout year. His previous season, I mean, his trajectory was just, he was getting better and better and better. And then he had the injury his senior year, and then it was just practice squad in the NFL. But we need another nose tackle. It's hard to find these type of guys, right? 300+ pound nose tackles that can, solidify the interior of your defense. Right, so it's not, you don't find these guys often. They're a diamond in the rough for sure. I think it's a great move when you look at filling out the roster. And these guys are like projects at this point. It'll take coaching to kind of develop them, but I mean, he looked so good in college until the injury. So there may be something there. Don't sleep on P.J. Mustipher. Will he make the team? If I'm a betting man, I say no. I doubt it. So as the NFL free agency began to die down, we witnessed the Philadelphia Eagles go all in to enhance an already extremely impressive roster via free agency. With some quality players still available, the Eagles may have a couple more moves, but overall, I'm extremely impressed with the roster moves thus far. And the Philadelphia Eagles and Howard Roseman's ability to craft out or build a roster. Quick bonus for you guys. Jalen Hurts never ceased to amaze me. Paying for the funeral of a kid that was shot. I'll leave you guys with the clip. A huge shout out to Jalen Hurts. He's a huge inspiration. He's one of those guys. He's just a great human being. That's a great character. Shout out to Jalen Hurts. This is the Voice of the Eagles show. And like always, God bless those Philadelphia Eagles.
The funeral of Jarvon Coles, an 18-year-old student athlete in Texas, drew many to this Houston area church over the weekend. His mother shared these photos with NBC 10 of her late son, a high school football player with offers to play in college and plans one day for the NFL. A drive-by shooting at a house party took his life earlier this month. His family wants answers.
If anybody know anything, man, just come clean. It won't hurt, God don't like ugly, so it'll come out eventually.
There's now a Philadelphia connection to Jarvon's family. They tell me Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts paid for the funeral. As many fans know, Jalen grew up in the Houston area and played for Channelview High School, a rival of North Shore, where Jarvon Coles attended. His father explains Jarvon had a bright future.
Excellent child, no trouble, smart. I was finna graduate, go to prom.
Jarvon's mother, Brittany Coles, tells me Jalen Hurts picking up the funeral expenses was a huge weight lifted because Jalen Hurts and his representatives helped with some of the planning, making sure the family was pleased with the details. This, by the way, is not the first time Jalen Hurts has stepped in to provide comfort to a grieving mother. He did it after gunfire erupted at Roxborough High School following a scrimmage in 2022. 14-year-old football player Nicholas Elizalde was shot and killed, and 4 others hurt. Investigators have said Nicholas was not the intended target.
The way we lost Nicholas was truly tragic, and I feel like the least that I could do was be there for the family.
Jalen Hurts went to Nicholas's high school in the wake of the shooting to show his support.
As soon as he started approaching me, I just instantly burst into tears.
To see the joy in their faces when they saw me, when they got to talk about what it is that I do on the field, and how I bring them joy by what I do on the field, I think it was truly heartwarming.
Reaching out to the community is what it means to be an Eagle. I'm Rosemary Connors, NBC 10 News.
It ain't no doggone tomorrow, fellas. What are you gonna bring to the doggone turkey? Are you gonna bust somebody in their mouth? Are you gonna do your doggone job? Are you gonna play from your doggone chest? Are you gonna play from your heart and get everything you doggone got? Cause I'ma do that.